Hey, how y'all doing? So today I'm going to try something different with my videos. I'm actually going to talk. It's Sunday dinner, so I'm going to be making a nice big pot roast. I got some cutlets. It's pretty good in size. This ought to last about 2 or 3 days in my house, crossing my fingers. It was actually a special request from a friend of mine, and they're not even coming to get it. Boo! So look, I have my Valentine's Day stuff out because you know it's almost that time of the year, and single or not, I really love Valentine's Day. So before everything gets crazy, hectic, and disgusting in this kitchen, y'all gotta check the nails. Yes, my baby girl did on Clawed by Gabby. Check her out. I will be tagging her in this video afterwards. I'm so proud of her. But listen, we're gonna get started.
So let's start off by preheating our oven to 350 degrees.
Okay, so I'm gonna take my very large pot roast, put it over here, so I can't do anything with this. And we're just gonna give it a really nice seasoning. So yes, I like large seasoning salt. I saw a meme one day that was like, people that cook with seasoning salt can't really cook. I don't know where they heard that from. Now typically if I use seasoning salt, I'm not gonna use regular salt too. That's just, you know, high cholesterol. We're not reaching for the stars here. We're gonna get a little brown black pepper. Get a nice coating on it. Onion powder. And the dynamic duo. Garlic powder. And seasoning. And I'm gonna put this in my cast iron skillet and make sure that we get a good crisp brown on both sides before we put it in to let it marinate. We're gonna let it cook for a couple hours until it's like fork tender. And I don't know how long that's gonna be. We're gonna let our ancestors tell us when this is done. So I'll be right back.
I'm gonna go ahead and flip the pot roast over and make sure I get a good seasoning on the other side. That way when I get ready to put this in the cast iron skillet so I brown it, it really locks in that flavor and that crust, and that's what we're looking for, especially before we put it in the oven.
So I'm gonna turn my skillet to like something by the gas stove, right? I'm gonna turn my skillet to medium heat and kind of just let the oil go. You wanna let it get, this is a cast iron skillet. It's gonna take a minute to get hot like you want it. So once it does reach that temperature, I'm gonna put my pot roast in there, and then we're gonna get that nice crispy crust that we're looking for before we put it in the oven. You wanna make sure you get a good amount of oil down. This is a big piece of meat that we're cooking. Woo. And so you gotta make sure you get it nice and seasoned on every side, because that really matters. And so, that's a big piece of meat. It is. Woo! It's gonna be so good. And we're just gonna let that cook on both sides. I'm gonna say like maybe 8-10 minutes, just to make sure it gets a really nice golden brown crust on it, kind of like a steak. And I'm also gonna make sure I get like this side food part right there on both sides, so that all of it's evenly brown, because that's really gonna lock in the flavor when it comes to it going in the oven to marinate for cook, whatever you want to call it.
And after that victory, a dance break is much well deserved and needed, but I still have a long way to go, so.
So this smells so good. Oh my God. I'm mad that it's gonna take like 3 hours for it to get done. I really should put my siblings in the headlock. I sent them on a mission in the daylight. It's almost the next day. But it's cool.
Hey, that wasn't our fault.
Woo! Woo! Y'all, look at that. Oh my God. Alright, look it. It's so hot. There we go.
Hey.
Gotta have a big arm for that one. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on my mac and cheese. Now, I love these corkscrew noodles. They are so much fun. Listen, you always want to start with the, like, basically the items or sides that are gonna take the longest. I start with the meat at first, unless I'm doing like shrimp or something. But if it has to go in the oven, that's number 1. Number 2, the prep. So like boiling the noodles, chopping the potatoes, things like that. You kind of want to like plan the meal so you're not stuck with mac and cheese and then waiting on a pot roast to finish 4 hours later. That makes no sense at all. My brothers and sisters and my daughter, they love macaroni and cheese. There we go. Just another thing that I do, and this is just for any pasta that you have, I always like to take a little bit of olive oil and put it into the water with some salt, and then when it comes out, it doesn't stick together. Like, don't you hate when that happens? Like that, nothing too major. And then you're gonna wanna keep this pasta water too. Give it a little swirl. And we're off. Woo!
Ooh.
That's what we want right there. So now I'm gonna try to let it sit on its side, and we're gonna do all 4 sides all over so that each of it can get this nice caramelized crust that we're looking for. So I'm gonna just go ahead and address the elephant in the room. I'm gonna talk about it because I love everyone in the industry right now. But it's really breaking my heart that Meg and Nicki Minaj are arguing. Only because they are such good rappers and entertainers. Like, it's rare that you come across somebody that can really rap and has swag, charisma, if you will. Woo! And they beefing. And it doesn't even seem like it's a decent enough reason. Funny thing is, I listen to all of them. I listen to Meg, I listen to Cardi, I listen to Mulatto, I listen to Doja Cat, I listen to Coily, everybody. I just want everybody to get along, honestly, because they're all such dope people. But don't tell me what you think in the comments. You want them to just dead this shit? For my playlist sake, I need them to. But until that happens, we're going to go ahead and take this very nicely cooked, seared, caramelized piece of pot roast out, and then I'm going to show y'all what we're going to put in this broth before we flip it into the oven. I like my pot roast really, really juicy, so I have it sitting to the side and resting. I know y'all have probably heard of that, especially when it comes to steaks. You always want to get it on all sides and then let it rest before you put it in the oven or whatever you're gonna do with it. So I'm gonna get started on the broth part. And some of these things might surprise you that go in here, but trust me, it is for the greater good. I'm gonna start with an onion and some fresh garlic. I'm gonna chop these up. Wish me luck, because my eyes are probably gonna be tearing all over the place. It's fine, just get it right in here. And I always do like a rough chop. Like, I'm not ratatouille or anything, so I'm not going for like the perfectly minced situation, especially since once this bakes, it's gonna be translucent anyway. Now we got something to work with. Take that part off. And see that? All you guys watching. Once you cut it like that, they come to like these little crescents. And just throw them right in the pot. Makes it so much easier. I can't wait to try this. The sucky part is I started cooking at like 6 o'clock at night, which means I'm not eating until 11. Yay, fun. Garlic's always a pain in the ass to cut up because it's so small. But if you have any anger issues, this should be really fun for you. Always take it and just pop it out of place. That's what you should end up with. Now when you hit it like that, I'm not hitting it for good luck. I'm hitting it to bust it out of the skin. The skin is stuck on there very tightly, kind of like an onion. And that's just for those of you that don't know how to cook. Anyone that does know how to cook, please save your Doug comments for yourself. So I learned how to cook from my grandma and my mom. I was the girl cousin. They made me stay inside and the boys got to go terrorize the city, if you will. But no, I had a really good time. They taught me all of their recipes. My mom was more like a gourmet chef. My grandma was Southern classic all the way. I actually taught her how to make tacos, but that is for a different night. So I'm gonna drop these in here. I'm going to add in some banana peppers. I did get hot banana peppers just for a little flavor, a little sweet, you know what I mean? We're just gonna scatter them throughout. This flavor is going to be so good with these onions and this garlic. I'm gonna do some ranch seasoning. It's gonna be really good. On top and around, like that. As y'all can see, I like shopping at Kroger, but we're just gonna take some brown gravy mix. Brown gravy mix, I feel like just that southern flavor in like we want. It's going to be so good. And this gravy with the mashed potatoes later, oh my God, y'all. When it comes to cooking and flavor, these are gonna be your best friends. The cubes, mom put me on this a while ago. I'm just gonna add some water. With all that flavor, you don't need any broth. That's what those bouillon cubes were for. That's gonna be your broth. And this is definitely not enough water, so I'm gonna get one more. All right, y'all, we're gonna put this in the oven 3 hours, and then we're gonna get started on our mac and cheese, because I see those noodles over there again. So with any good Southern mac and cheese, of course, we're gonna have to start with some Velveeta, or just some type of melting cheese. Now, I've been seeing a lot of recipes online where there's 5 and 6 cheeses, but my grandma never taught me to use that. 2 cheeses, that's it. Most of the time, they weren't even name brand. And when I tell you it fed all me and my 6 cousins just the same, that is a promise. I'm just gonna dig in here. And I'm gonna cut this whole brick up, and it's gonna melt really nicely inside of the, I guess you would call it a roux. See how it cuts apart? It's really easy. You also wanna do it with cold cheese. It's really hard to do this when the cheese is all soggy. All right, that's it. I take a whole stick of butter, just chop it, little squares, just like that. Now I'm gonna take both of these and put them into my mixture, but I'm gonna use this really big pan here, because like I said, in this house, everyone loves mac and cheese. Typically, people always say drain the pasta water, but it comes in handy, especially if you don't have like enough milk or something. So I took my wooden spoon and I'm just kind of combining everything. This is literally just the pasta and the cheese. This is a really good and easy way to go ahead and put all of your seasonings in at one time. My grandma showed this. So you literally just take the eggs and season them up. I do seasoning salt, and it's a big pan, so do not judge. I love pepper in the mac and cheese. And not as much onion powder. Gonna give it a nice little whisk. Add another mix all the way through. So this is what I was talking about. This is literally just flour and water. If there is anything you're trying to make thicker, like say you made your red beans and rice too soupy or something like that, or your gumbo, flour and water, just like adding it to a cake. It's gonna make it thicker. I almost forgot my sharp cheese. So I'm gonna keep mixing this for a while, and then it's gonna go in the oven, and I'm gonna get started on those mashed potatoes.
Hey y'all, it's Chris, and I'm chopping the potatoes.
So I have like the best little sister in the world. She's chopping up the potatoes for me, which is my least favorite thing in the kitchen to do. But simply because they don't all want to starve, they go ahead and take care of it for me.
I've been letting these boil for about 20 minutes now. My little sister cut up the whole bag, which is about 9 or 8 potatoes. And you know they're ready when they're really tender like this. You see how they just kind of fall apart? The potato masher makes it way easier. My grandma had like arms of steel. I remember watching her mash up some potatoes with just a fork. I was like, how did you do that? Okay, so I got the potatoes down to the consistency that I want. So I add my milk in. I like using sour cream on my mashed potatoes. Just chunk that nice and big. And I'm just working it all through, making sure it has the best consistency. I'm gonna get down at the bottom too. That's why the fork is kind of easier to use. Get down to the bottom and make sure there's a hard part down there all flavorless like that. See that chunk? It would have missed everything, the whole party. If you have not been working your biceps, you're gonna get it done with this one. Nobody wants flavorless mashed potatoes. Pepper, some salt, garlic powder. What I like to do is come back in at the end with the potato masher again. Have them as creamy as possible. I got our mac and cheese in the oven right now. And I think we got about 20 more minutes on that pot roast. I'm so hungry. Last thing we're gonna do is put these green beans on the skillet and get this cornbread going. And then we're gonna have ourselves a nice Southern style Sunday dinner. So fresh.
We're gonna snap the rest of these green beans and throw them in the pot and get ready to cook.
I either use fresh garlic or I use this. I kind of like to get the seasonings going first. So it kind of has like a base. I can just toss them around and coat them in the flavor and then just let them go until they're ready. Of course, I'm gonna hit it with seasoning salt, onion powder, garlic powder, pepper. So I got a couple pieces of onion. See that? Almost kind of looks like its own roux. I'm gonna take my freshly washed green beans. All right. I'm just gonna add them right into the pot. That flavor get all over the green beans. You don't want to leave any in here unattended to. Boom. Put the lid on. Let those work for about 20-25 minutes, and we're good to go. We're gonna get started on our cornbread. I have some cornmeal, an egg, some milk, and some sugar. And I know you're probably wondering, where's my oil or where's my butter? But I'm gonna show y'all a trick that my grandma showed me that works every time. Add in some cornmeal. You can just kind of eyeball it. Spread that out so there's no lumps. Pour it in there. He really does say water, but yeah. Now you don't have to do this, but personally, I like when my cornbread just tastes like cake. Kids love it. This is how my grandma used to get us to eat it all the time, and my mom, oh my gosh, she would go to this. You just sprinkle. So I'm gonna show y'all that trick that my grandma taught me. In just a few minutes, actually, I have my pan heating up, and so you'll see in just a sec. So y'all stay put. First, you're gonna want to take like a regular skillet pan or whatever you actually put your cornbread in. Some people do little loaf pans. Some people do like the disposable pans. I always make it in the skillet. So the amount that they really want you to put in is like 1/3 of a cup, which is kind of like a whole stick of butter. Now I'm gonna stick it in the oven and let this oil get really, really hot. When I put my cold batter into this hot oil, it's immediately gonna make like this really nice crunchy crust on the outside of the cornbread. I love that. You will too. I have let the oil get like really, really, really hot in the oven. Now, literally just pour it in. And then immediately starts like sizzling, and that's gonna give it the prettiest crust ever. Don't be hating when your appliances try to tell you what to do. It's my motherfucking kitchen. My timer just went off for my pot roast. I'm about to pull it out really quick. This is gonna be the first taste test. I'm really hoping that it's tender all the way through like I like it because I'm starving. I'm so ready to eat this thing.
Well, the good news is the pot roast was almost done. The bad news is the pot roast was not done yet. I went on ahead and put it into my heart-shaped Dutch pan and left it for about another hour, and it came out perfect. Do y'all see that golden crust on there? That's what I was talking about. Isn't this Valentine's Day setup adorable? I'm gonna go ahead and plate my meal on here. I got most of this stuff from Dollar Tree and Five Below, but I have my mashed potatoes, my nice tender pot roast, a couple of scoops of mac and cheese, some green beans. Go ahead and place those at the end for color. Then I'm gonna come in with some gravy, put some of those banana peppers and onions on top of the pot roast, a little parsley to make it cute, little paprika on the macaroni and cheese. Then we're going to come in with that nice golden crispy cornbread, and of course we're going to add honey to the top because why wouldn't you? It's delicious. I'm going to have a nice tall glass of sweet tea with this because I am a country girl, in case you haven't heard it in my voice yet. And this is my first V-Day meal of the month. It's going to be my Mississippi pot roast, mashed potatoes and gravy, mac and cheese, and green beans. And yes, I'm going to enjoy a nice little happy dance. I've been cooking for 4 hours and I definitely deserve it. But y'all try it out and tell me what you think. Bye. Have a good one.
I be so sick of you niggas, y'all contradicting. I be so bold myself when you come and fuck me. I feel so ordinary, except when you around me. Treat me like water while you